Have you ever wondered what connects your non-stick frying pan to a global health crisis affecting every living creature on Earth? In 1929, Chicago witnessed a terrifying mystery. People were dying inside their homes with no apparent cause. After 15 deaths, investigators finally uncovered the culprit: refrigerators. These weren't your grandfather's iceboxes. They were modern marvels using methyl chloride, a toxic, nearly odorless gas that could kill without warning. Some refrigerators used flammable gases instead, turning kitchens into potential infernos with a single spark. This crisis demanded a solution, and one company stepped forward with what seemed like a miracle substance. What started as a life-saving innovation would eventually contaminate every corner of our planet. Today, this chemical family resides in the blood of virtually every human being, from bustling cities to remote Arctic regions. Scientists call them forever chemicals, and their story reveals one of the most significant environmental cover-ups in modern history. The accidental miracle. In 1936, a young chemist named Roy Plunkett was conducting routine experiments at DuPont when fate intervened. Working with tetrafluoroethylene gas, his assistant opened what should have been a full cylinder, but nothing emerged. The cylinder weighed correctly, suggesting the gas hadn't leaked. Curious and frustrated, Plunkett sawed the cylinder open to discover something extraordinary: a white, slippery powder where gas should have been. Under pressure, the gas molecules had linked together in long chains, creating polytetrafluoroethylene, though no one knew what to call it yet. What happened next changed everything. Plunkett tested this mysterious substance with every chemical in his laboratory: acidic bases, solvents. Nothing could break it down or make it react. The secret lay in the carbon-fluorine bond, one of nature's strongest chemical connections. Fluorine atoms grip carbon's electrons with extraordinary force, creating an almost indestructible shield. This accidental discovery would soon prove invaluable to a nation at war, though its true impact wouldn't be understood for decades. From war machine to consumer dream, the Manhattan Project desperately needed Plunkett's invention. Enriching uranium required uranium hexafluoride, a viciously corrosive gas that destroyed conventional gaskets and pipes within weeks. DuPont's new material, trademarked as Teflon in 1944, proved impervious to this chemical assault. Gordon Fee, manager of the Oak Ridge facility, declared there was never a substitute. Considered Teflon worked like magic. Military applications exploded. Fuel tanks, airplane engines, weapon manufacturing plants all benefited from this seemingly indestructible substance. After the war ended, Teflon's military secrecy lifted, unleashing a consumer revolution. In 1954, French engineer Marc Grégoire coated his fishing gear with Teflon to prevent tangles. His wife suggested a more practical application: nonstick cookware. The Teflon pan transformed kitchens worldwide, marketed with promises that even oatmeal wouldn't stick. Beyond cookware, Teflon appeared everywhere: stain-resistant carpets, waterproof jackets, medical implants, even the Statue of Liberty's framework. By the late 1990s, DuPont's Teflon business generated roughly $1 billion annually, cementing its place in modern life. The hidden chemical creating Teflon posed a dangerous challenge. The polymerization process released tremendous heat, and above 200 degrees Celsius, the reaction could trigger catastrophic explosions. In 1944, such an explosion killed 2 workers at DuPont's Arlington plant. To control this volatile process, DuPont needed to disperse the gas molecules throughout water, but tetrafluoroethylene wouldn't dissolve. Their solution came from 3 meters in 1951, perfluoroactinoic acid, known as PFOA or C8. This remarkable molecule had a hydrophobic Teflon-like tail and a water-loving acidic head. C8 molecules arranged themselves in water like tiny bubbles, creating dry pockets where gas could disperse evenly. When heated, the water absorbed energy safely, preventing explosions while allowing Teflon to form. This breakthrough enabled spray-on Teflon coatings for everything from cookware to carpets. However, DuPont's internal research quickly revealed troubling facts. In 1961, scientists discovered that C8 caused abnormal liver growth in rats at surprisingly low doses. Even more concerning, C8 was extraordinarily persistent in the environment and could accumulate in living tissue, mimicking essential fatty acids while potentially disrupting crucial biological systems. The farmer's nightmare. Earl Tennant, a West Virginia farmer, noticed something terribly wrong with his cattle in the 1990s. His animals were wasting away, developing tumors, black teeth, and mysterious ailments. White foam poured from a drainage pipe on his property, marked with DuPont's name. This pipe connected to DuPont's Washington Works facility, the world's first commercial Teflon plant located just 6 miles away. Earl documented everything on videotape: skeletal cattle, strange lesions, and that ominous white discharge. When he hired lawyer Rob Billett to investigate, the community turned against him. DuPont provided thousands of jobs and supported local schools and recreation facilities. Rob expected a straightforward case about illegal dumping, but DuPont's waste permits revealed nothing dangerous. Then DuPont delivered over 60,000 operational documents, hoping to overwhelm the investigation. Instead, Rob discovered references to C8 appearing everywhere in those files. Internal studies from the 1960s showed C8 killed rats through organ damage. By 1975, researchers found organic fluorine in blood samples across America, and 3 meters confirmed it matched their chemicals. DuPont knew their workers had C8 levels 1,000 times higher than the general population, with many showing signs of liver disease. Contamination revealed. DuPont dumped nearly 10 tons of C8 into the Ohio River annually while accumulating thousands more tons in landfills. By the early 1980s, cancer studies confirmed C8 caused testicular tumors in rats. DuPont tested water near their Washington Works plant and found C8 in the public supply. In 1984, officials met to consider replacing C8 with safer alternatives, but concluded no economically attractive options existed. Instead, DuPont scientists created their own safety standard: 1 part per billion, essentially the detection limit. Imagine 1 drop of PFOA in 22,500-liter tanks. That's how much DuPont considered unsafe. The landfill water flowing into Earl's property measured 1,600 parts per billion. Rob compiled his evidence into a 900-page letter to the EPA and Justice Department. DuPont settled with Earl's family for an undisclosed amount without admitting wrongdoing. But the problem extended far beyond Earl's farm. 70,000 people around Parkersburg drank contaminated water for decades. In 2000, researchers analyzed blood samples from thousands of Americans nationwide. Every single sample tested positive for C8, averaging 5 parts per billion. This wasn't a local issue. It was nationwide contamination, and virtually no one knew it existed. The medical verdict: Rob spearheaded a comprehensive health study of everyone living near Washington Works for 7 long years. Scientists analyzed blood samples and medical records from thousands of participants. Many people, including Earl and his wife Sandra, died before seeing the results. Finally, in 2013, an independent science panel confirmed a probable link between C8 and 6 human diseases: thyroid disease, testicular cancer, kidney cancer, ulcerative colitis, high cholesterol, and pregnancy-induced hypertension. The findings were based on people with average C8 blood levels of 28 parts per billion, significantly higher than the national average. The statistics were sobering. Normally, men face roughly a 1 in 143 chance of developing kidney cancer, but someone with over 30 parts per billion C8 in their blood might face 1 in 22. Odds nearly double the risk. Women's risk increased from 1 in 73 to 1 in 37. However, these studies only included survivors, not those who might have already died from exposure, suggesting the true risks could be even higher. Following publication, DuPont phased out C8 by 2015 and eventually paid over $600 million to victims, a seemingly small price for a company generating nearly $80 billion in annual sales. The forever problem. DuPont's solution to the C8 crisis was simple: create C6. They removed 2 carbon atoms from the molecule and called it GenX because it was shorter and had an oxygen interrupting the carbon chain. They claimed it would degrade more easily. Chemours, the spin-off company handling DuPont's Teflon business, proposed that 70 parts per billion of GenX in drinking water would be safe. But when cancer studies were finally conducted, GenX caused the exact same 3 tumors in rats that PFOA did: liver, testicular, and pancreatic. Moreover, its shorter chain made GenX more mobile, potentially contaminating larger areas. This pattern repeats endlessly with over 14,000 different man-made chemicals in the PFAS family. All share those incredibly stable carbon-fluorine bonds. Companies create new variations, C7S, C9S, branched polymers, each requiring decades of research to understand fully. It's molecular whack-a-mole. By the time we address one chemical's dangers, companies have already released the next variation. Meanwhile, PFAS contaminate everything from waterproof clothing to fast food wrappers, from cosmetics to the screen you're watching this on. Their persistence has earned them a chilling nickname: forever chemicals. Living with forever chemicals, PFAS have infiltrated every ecosystem on Earth, from bustling cities to Antarctica's pristine wilderness. They contaminate polar bears, birds, fish, and virtually every living creature. The entire water cycle now carries unsafe levels of at least 4 PFAS species, meaning even rain on the Tibetan Plateau contains these chemicals. Personal testing reveals shocking results. PFOS levels at 8.93 parts per billion, double the American average, and PFHXS at nearly 7 parts per billion, higher than 95% of Americans. The combined total reached 17.92 parts per billion, dangerously close to levels requiring additional medical screening. Where does this contamination originate? 3 main pathways exist: direct contact with PFAS-containing products, contaminated food packaging, and drinking water, especially near manufacturing facilities, military bases, or airports using firefighting foam. In April 2024, the EPA finally set legal limits at 4 parts per trillion for PFOA and PFOS. Imagine detecting 1 drop in 5 Olympic swimming pools. Some relief exists. HVAC osmosis activated carbon and ion exchange filters can remove PFAS from drinking water. Research continues on destruction mechanisms and safer alternatives. Until then, Awareness remains our strongest weapon. Companies respond to consumer demands, and informed choices drive meaningful change toward a safer future. Join the World Documentaries family today. Subscribe to explore more eye-opening investigations into the hidden stories shaping our world. Hit that like button if this documentary expanded your understanding, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you checked your local water quality? What changes are you making to reduce PFAS exposure? Your experiences and insights matter. Let's build a community committed to environmental awareness and change. Together we can demand transparency and accountability from the corporations affecting our health and planet.